Good afternoon, everybody. My name is John Durrant, and welcome to The Train. This is Condor Online, and I have with me today Christine Parfitts.
That's right.
And Steve Parfitts, known professionally as Steve Cavis. Okay, hello. Steve, hello. Thank you very much for coming in.
You're most welcome.
Now, Steve and Christina are from Southport.
That's right.
And they actually are, you run Southport Church?
I run Portland Street Corinthian Church.
Portland Street Corinthian Church?
Yes.
Christina, tell me what it is that you do. I see that you're ordained.
Yes.
And you're an ordained minister of who?
The Corinthian Church and Healing Association.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve, what are you?
I'm just certified.
Oh, well, we were aware of that. Yeah, that's okay. That's fine.
And I'm just a member of Lancashire District Healing, but I'm not associated with the church.
You're not just only, you are. That's brilliant. No. Okay. You're not associated with the church?
No. I founded the church along with a lady called Margaret Simpson 14 years ago. She's since passed. She passed last year. And I was with her when she passed, but she hailed from New Zealand,
okay.
And so she would go back to New Zealand and come back to Southport. So it ended up with me running the church, and we initially started off on Portland Street in a Unitarian church and we called ourselves Pathways then.
I remember that.
Do you remember?
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember coming there.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So when eventually the Unitarians had to sell the building, we moved to the Little Welsh Chapel on Portland Street.
Isn't that the one next door to the railway line?
That's right.
Got it.
Right,
yeah.
Right near the railway line. And when we went to register the business, we couldn't use the word Pathways because there are thousands of people that use it. So we ended up deciding that we would call it Portland Street Spiritualist Church. And then obviously I'm more involved now as the Vice Chair for North Midlands through to the north for the Corinthians. I changed the name to Portland Street Corinthian Church.
Okay, can I stop you right there?
Yes.
What is Corinthian?
It's a healing organisation, and it was set up by a gentleman called Reverend Ron Jones in 1993. And its main office for the UK is in Hailsham.
I feel I should know Ron Jones. I should know the name Ron Jones.
You probably do, and you'll probably know him by his face, if nothing else.
He's quite well known in spiritual circles, isn't he?
That's right.
Especially healing circles.
Yes.
Okay. Is it anything to do with the SNU healing?
No.
Oh, you said that very definitely.
Oh, we're definitely nothing to do with that. I originally started healing with the NFSH, which is now the Healing Trust, and that's where I initially trained. After a number of years, I became involved with Lancashire and District Healing Association, for which I am the training mentor for this area, and that is run by a gentleman called David Wren. And so at my church, I train people in the various aspects of healing.
Right, just hang on a second.
Spiritual healing.
Just hang on a second there. Can I put you on hold for just a minute?
Mm-hmm.
And come back to you with about healing.
Yeah.
In just a second.
That's fine.
Because I want to have a quick word with him as well. Because it's only fair, really.
It is.
Yeah, it is only
my
fair.
other half to speak.
Steve, what is it? What do you do in this? Are you? I know you, and I have seen you work in spiritualist churches as a medium.
Yeah, well, to me, everything's healing. Mediumship's healing, because your messages should be uplifting. Nobody should walk out of a church, a demonstration, thinking, I've got 7 years bad luck. They should be coming out uplifted.
Okay.
So to me, everything's healing. You can look, without going to too much detail football-wise, but the healing the City got, the upliftment the City got this weekend.
Why don't you want to go into it too much detail football-wise? I understand that you've got a slightly different colour than...
Red or blue, yeah. My colour's green.
It doesn't really matter.
No.
I agree with you. It doesn't really
No,
matter.
but the upliftment,
The upliftment was amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely
and
amazing.
People don't realise healing we can get through other forms of society, as well as hands-on spiritual healing.
Right, now thank you, because that brings me right back to you, because we were talking about healing. What is healing to you? I've got something, I'm going somewhere with this, I've got something in my own mind, because we've spoken to a number of different people about healing, and Steve's just told us quite eloquently about giving messages and so on, and how that is a healing experience.
Yeah.
What is healing to you, Christina?
The healing to me is a part of our well-being, and people don't realise that everyday life impacts on you greatly, and as it does that, it pulls your energy down, and it really does, for some people, make them quite ill. And so when we go into what we call the Healing Act, that is to give people time to themselves. It's their time, with somebody else being there, asking actually for their highest best. And when we do that, we're asking for that energy to be brought down and to balance up the chakra system.
Can I just stop you for a minute? I want to go back and have a little more explanation about this.
Okay.
You said, first of all you mentioned the word energy,
which
is becoming a magic word on this show.
Okay.
I'm becoming quite aware that everything we do and everything that goes on is all about energy.
It is.
You also mentioned the Healing Act.
Yes.
And then you talked about somebody having a little bit of time to themselves, but you bringing down.
Yeah.
Would you explain what you mean by that, please?
Right. When we say that we're bringing down the energy, each of the healers sets themselves up, and what they actually do is they ground themselves. They open themselves up to the Godhead. That's what we're doing. Okay. And we send up a prayer asking for ourselves to be used as a channel for the greater good of the person that's before us. There doesn't have to be touching involved in any way at all. And I don't advocate that people be touched. They don't like it, by and large, being touched. And that energy then flows through to that person. By and large, the average man on the street is not always aware, but we do get people that can feel that energy, understand it, and know where it's going. It's not for us to decide where it's going, it's for our God to decide where it's going.
Back, if I go back a number of years to the days when I used to sit in a healing circle, and people would come along and stand in front of you and go, yeah, I can feel, they'd run their hands, not touching you, but over you, and then say, oh, I can feel some disruption here.
Yes.
And then, do you mind if I touch you? And they would touch you. And you would feel heat.
Right.
Or cold sometimes.
That's right.
But you would feel a change in temperature.
And sometimes it's a breeze.
And sometimes it's a breeze,
Yeah.
okay. But you're saying it's not necessary to touch the person
It's not necessary at all.
Okay.
Not at all. You know, at the end of the day, we live in a society of litigation. So you have to be very, very careful. And we're not allowed to use the word heal. And we're not allowed during the Healing Act to state where the healing is going to. And that is due to, obviously...
I didn't know that.
Well, you're not allowed to, no.
Wow. What do you say, Steve?
Because we come under the Trading
Is that what you
Standards
say?
Act. Yeah.
You come under the Trading Standards Act?
Yes.
So, okay, God, you come under the Trading Standards Act, mate.
He does now.
I think it's called the Fraudulent Mediums Act. Fraudulent Mediums Act to get it out.
It is. Yeah.
So you've got to watch yourself again.
The what Act?
I can't say it.
Fraudulent Mediums
Fraudulent
Act.
Mediums Act.
Yeah.
There's a Fraudulent Mediums Act.
There's a Fraudulent Mediums
That's
Act.
to protect the general public.
It's to protect the public, and we also come under trading standards.
Wow.
Didn't I know?
I did not know that.
Yes, well, that's...
So in
that's
other
maybe-
words, for all those people out there who are watching this,
Uh-huh,
they now know
yes,
that if they don't like what's been going on,
yeah,
they can go to the trading standards
Yeah.
and say, hey.
yes.
So in actual fact, all those people,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say there's lots of people, but there are some
Uh-huh,
who they have the right, their heart is in the right place,
yes,
they have the right idea,
yes,
they want to help,
yes,
but one questions sometimes if they're helping you or themselves, and I'm not talking about anything financial at this stage,
uh-huh,
okay? But sometimes you feel that they are perhaps doing a little more for their own ego than they are for your health.
if they're quite showy,
Okay, yeah, okay.
it's more about...
We are choosing our words carefully here, I can see that.
I am.
Yeah.
If they tend to be rather showy, the act is a very simple one. It doesn't need showmanship of any kind. It's an act taking place between two people, the giver and the receiver.
So all this trembling hands business
need.
and all that,
No need.
and so on,
No
and
need.
all this changing voice and stuff is...
No need.
Okay, thank you very much. But in actual fact... Excuse my associate.
Spirit guide.
He's my spirit guide, yes.
It's actually frowned upon, to be honest.
Right, the thing is, well, yes, I can see that.
Mm.
But the thing is, what I was going to say was, if somebody experiences this
Mm-hmm.
and they are upset
Yes.
by it,
Yeah.
they can actually, there is a course of action for them to take.
There is a course of action. If they don't wish to do that, then go and find a new centre or a new person that you can trust and feel comfortable with.
Christina, I fully appreciate that, but what I'm getting at here is there is a legal path
Yes.
they can follow.
Yes.
If they don't like what's happened, they can go to the trading standards
That's
and
right.
say this person is a fraud.
They can do that at any time, and you know they have a responsibility to do that if they feel not just themselves but other people are being taken basically for a ride.
And now I realise that I might have opened a can of worms, because
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
are also going to be people who will go and do that purely out of malicious
That's right.
intent.
That's right. But it's not for you or I to actually judge. It's for the appropriate authorities to decide whether or not something has taken place that shouldn't.
Thank you very much for that. You've just given me a get out, because I was beginning to feel a bit guilty.
No, you shouldn't feel guilty. If you go to the appropriate authorities, if you feel something isn't right, it's for them to investigate it and for them to make that decision. And that is one of the reasons why I don't advocate anyone touch anyone else.
Exactly.
You know?
I can understand that totally.
Right.
I mean, there was a thing that was said once to me, that it is healing, not feeling.
That's right.
Yes, you say
And
that.
unfortunately, you get an awful lot of men who get accused of doing things
That they haven't done at all.
At all.
Yeah.
And I've seen that myself happen, and
Yeah.
I know, you know, that it does happen, and it's very, very sad when it does.
Yes,
It really is.
So I have seen some perfectly nice, really, really
Genuine people.
people be
Vilified.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not good.
totally vilified, and actually have it's crushed them.
It does. It does.
Because
You're doing it for someone else's
it's
highest
not
good.
just but they're also not just that. There are some people who actually believe in what they're doing to such an extent, and that they are doing something for somebody else, and they can't understand how anybody can take that attitude with them.
Well,
anybody can be like that
unfortunately,
with them.
yeah, we do get people
Yeah.
like that. You do, and that's why also at the centre we're not allowed to heal on our own. We always have
Or is it pairs?
another healer to sit, especially if you're with someone of the opposite sex. We will always make sure there's another healer in the room.
This is good for everybody, of course.
It is. Yeah.
This is good for
It's a
everybody.
protection for
Yeah.
everyone.
This doesn't work quite the same way Steve, with things like mediumship, does it?
No. Again.
Okay, thanks.
No. Well, as a,
No.
That's clear.
when just I'm a member of the Lancashire Industry Healing Association, you pay for insurance as well, so you're insured.
Okay.
Everything's about protection in a way, but also if you go on a one-to-one reading, but again I don't. Well, you sit across the table, you shouldn't be sat down in front of somebody. And again, I know if it's a private reading just when you're in your room, it's hard to get somebody else in.
Yes, it's good to get somebody else there.
Yeah, if you can, but it's...
I've noticed that when more and more, when mediums are doing parties, for example, they go to somebody's house, more and more they're doing things in groups or in pairs rather than doing things on their own.
Yeah.
You know, you don't take the individual out of the party and go to another room together. You are at least somewhere where people perhaps can hear what's going on, if nothing else, but where there is a closeness and things.
That's right.
And I've noticed that's happening quite a lot.
Yeah.
It's a shame, actually. I think it's sad that things should come to that pass.
It's a claim society now.
It is, and it's people's greed, unfortunately, because they do become greedy, and you know, and they will use somebody else as the crutch that they're looking for to get what they want. That's why we have insurance. All the healers and the mediums should have insurance.
That's okay then. I can make a claim and make some money out of it. No. That's what I'm saying.
No, but it's to cover
yes,
us.
I understand that. I understand totally. I want to. That's all very nice and very hard fact daily life. I want to get away from that.
Okay.
We deal with things mystical here, and spiritual and scientific.
Okay.
And it's the science behind some of these things that I've been trying to look into. Some things you simply can't explain, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just phenomena.
Yeah.
And these are the things mystic. But one thing I do want to go back to before we leave the actual street out of it all entirely, you are ordained with the Corinthian
Church.
Church.
Yes.
Okay. What does being ordained mean?
For
What's
me.
being you're obviously Reverend Christina Parfitt,
Yeah.
but what does that mean? What happened? How did that work? What did you do? Did you have to take an exam? Did you have to just sit a course? What do you do?
When we moved from the Unitarian Church in Portland Street, and I opened up in the Welsh Chapel on Portland Street.
Which, by the way, is a lovely, lovely little place.
Thank you.
It's cool. How do you become ordained? What did you have to do? Did you take a course? Do you have to pass an exam? Some people I've seen have actually just paid a load of money.
Yeah.
You can buy it on the internet, can't you?
Yeah, I think firstly, it's to be a minister is a calling, and you know, and it is part of what we do as a whole. And running the church was for me something that I'd been given by Spirit a long time ago. And I did wonder why am I going to be running a church, and what, you know, what's so special about that? So obviously we follow that path. So when I opened Portland Street up, it had previously been a church, but it had been bought and then transformed into office space.
Oh, right.
And when I was looking for a place to go, I noted outside this building that there was a sign saying space for hire. So I called on a few of my friends and said, can you come and have a look at this building with me? Because I feel as though this is where we should be. So we all met up, and as soon as we walked into the building, we knew that that was the right place. We were in what our God and our spirit family and friends wanted us to be in. And so that started the ball rolling. To be able to do that, you have to then go down a legal path. So we registered the company, we registered with the Charities Commission. We also had to register, obviously, with the land registry. We had to register with the council, and there were various organisations then that I had to register with regards to it being a church, and the paperwork we used and the setup, the timetables and everything that we were offering.
What I am learning here is that this is all spiritual stuff that we're talking about.
Yes.
And this is all about energy, the essence of things.
Yes.
And you've used the word God a couple of times.
Yes.
I've been avoiding it.
Yes.
But everybody to each their own. That's fine.
Well, it's God,
whatever you
he,
want to
she,
call it.
whatever you want to call it.
Well, we've already decided on the first show that God, in actual fact, is a black woman with dreads. But that's okay. I did. The thing is that you've still got a whole range of hoops to jump through.
Yes.
Which are legal, of this world, feet on the ground, you know, maintaining.
Binding.
Exactly.
Yes. So I went through all of that and set it up as a true church. The chap that owned the building, he was the landlord and he had the upper floors. And within 3 months he asked me to take the whole building over, which we did. And we ran that really as a church, with my being the president of that church. And the whole of that time I was looking for somewhere that I could actually study and become a minister of the church.
So what's the difference between being a minister of the Corinthian church and a minister of the Catholic Church?
They go through the theology college and university and study all of that side of it.
So the Catholic Church does that?
All religions, yes.
Okay.
There are a number of religions that vote for their ministers, and they do that. And I think the what are they called now? The Methodists.
Oh yeah.
And I know
the
Jews,
Methodists,
they choose their
the
own
Presbyterians
rabbis.
do as well.
Yeah, they choose.
And I think aren't imams? Aren't
That's
they
right,
chosen?
and they're chosen
voted?
as well. And it's much the same within the spiritualist movement. It is the trustees of the church that voted me as their minister.
So if you prove yourself,
yes,
and they approve of you,
yes,
that's how it comes about.
How it comes
Okay.
about. But when I became affiliated to the Corinthian church, because I had been working for 14 years with the church and running it as a church,
Yeah.
Christenings, weddings, funerals that I do anyway, when I applied to them for my ministry, I expected to have to do a course.
We had a lady on here a few months ago,
Yeah.
who was a few weeks ago, I should say, who was a celebrant,
Yes.
and she
They're
was
different.
qualified as a celebrant.
That's right.
And could run for anybody,
That's right.
for anything.
Yeah, you can,
So-
which there are courses that you can do
Absolutely.
that. You know, so I, as I say, I applied to the Corinthian movement and said, you know, that I've been a healer now for the last 14 years, and I would like to become a minister, and how do I go about that? And they sent a representative up, which was Reverend Dennis Binks, and he came up, and he was the chairman for them, and he came to see me. And when he came up to see me, I had two other ladies with me who also wanted to enter into the ministry. One was Maxine Anderson and the other one was Maddie Mirthwaite.
Oh, right, I know both ladies.
Okay.
It's very much a matter of, this is by experience
Yes.
and knowledge, rather than by examination,
Yes.
which is something you can cram for
Yes.
and get very easily.
Yes.
The experience and the knowledge take a lot longer.
They take a long time.
Tell me something, Steve, if I may interrupt you a second. Tell me something, Steve, how do you feel? What I was going to ask you was, one of the things we mentioned a little while ago was people who can do a couple of of open circles, go along, give perhaps a couple of messages somewhere, and to quote your words, the next thing is they've got a notice up in a chip shop proclaiming themselves to be a medium.
Yeah, and then they were advertising, but there's the people, I know we're going back a bit now to that Fraudulent Mediums Act, but that's what that's for, to stop people from, a friend of mine once said in Blackpool that they go to a couple of open circles and the next thing they've got a tent on the front,
Yeah,
or something,
yeah.
and that's to protect the people, the general public, from people who are doing that who don't know just what they're saying, because you're dealing positivity, like I said before, the messages should be healing, and somebody, to give an example, I ran an open circle at Portland Street Church the other week. I was taught mediumship is like catchphrase, you say what you see. And running this open circle, there's a young gentleman there, never been before. So I said to him, it's just like catchphrase, you say what you see. And he was sat there, so I've got a message for this lady over there. Fair enough. He said, your house is going to be on fire.
Oh.
I said, you can't say that.
He said, well, so.
It's negative. Were you there?
No, but I saw it.
So I said, you also get symbolism, where you get things which are symbols and you've got to work out what that symbol means to you. Every message is unique to the medium who's giving that message. So explaining that to this young gentleman, you just want to sit back and ask what it means to you.
Yeah, what it is for your house to be on fire.
So he sat back and somebody else gave a message and he got up and said, what does this feel to you? And he gets up and he said, her house is going to be on fire. To me it was a cleansing around the lady's house, that's what the fire was. And I asked the lady, I said, to me, and she said, I can take that. And I don't know what my face was like, I'll be honest with you. And the lady said to me, she said, I've been coming to Spiritualist churches for 16 years, you're right. But what happens if the person received that message was there for the first time? And that's the last, that's got to be protected. But can I just deviate a little bit? I never knew Rita Marley were God.
Didn't you?
No.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. Didn't know Rita Marley was God. Bob's mum.
All right.
Oh. He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
I know that.
I go back, as we talked before, I go back 50 odd years in this movement. And in my day, you sat in a development circle as a junior, and you sat there for weeks, months, even years before you were even allowed to say anything. Never mind stand up on a rostrum and give a message.
I started in an awareness class run by Margaret Simpson, maybe 15 years ago, I may be wrong, and that's how I started. And then I was drawn to the healing side of things, which Tina was my mentor for the healing. Then after doing the healing, again, to me it was like Tai Chi, you're working with energy, moving the energy around people, you've got balls of energy in your hands. And then I started picking messages up, so I was working with different energies that way. And that's why I feel mediumship is like healing to each other.
I fully understand that, and I'm right behind you with that. And it is a matter of being considerate of the person that you're with. Really.
Yes, it is.
I can see that we're actually approaching a station here quite rapidly. We're drawing to an end to this.
Oh, right.
You didn't realise, did you?
No.
Now then, the thing is that your church, what other things do you do quickly?
Okay.
What other things do you do besides just having services on a Sunday or open circles on a Wednesday or whatever else it may be?
Right, in the church we offer an open circle on a Monday evening at 7:30. At 6:30 we have a yoga class. On a Tuesday we have a yoga class at 7 o'clock, and we have healing with the healers and those who wish to come into the sanctuary. Wednesday we have a service on at 7:45, and then on a Thursday we have a class called Being with Spirit, and with that one we deal with transfiguration, and we deal with physical phenomena, which I run also. On Sunday we have our service at 1:30.
You are a busy person.
Well, there is a lot to do, and in between times we do the funerals, the weddings, and I had a lovely time at the weekend doing a marriage renewal for a couple who were well in their 70s, and they, you know, it was wonderful. It was
There's hope for me yet then.
Yeah, there's hope. And you know, when people talk about God, and I talk about God, and as you can see, I always put my hands up when I talk about God.
Notice.
Can I just leave you with this? Our God is here. Our God is within us. It sits within our heart, and it's what we do and how we express our love for other people that brings that God forward. And that's why I'm a minister, because I want to help as many people as I can. That's my path.
Reverend Christina Parfitts, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. And thank you very much for coming in. Thank you for bringing us, Steve.
Oh, yeah. I felt like a house shotgun.
Well, you did. Thanks for coming in.
And
both of
thank you.
Quickly, just on about how the Corinthians were, how they choose their ministers. In a way, if you look at like the Red Indians, the Asian society, where the elders rule the society, which is more of a further away, really.
It's experience, and it's love, and it's the journey,
That's right.
which is the important thing,
And that's what you've got to
exactly what
share.
you've just said.
You know, and also I was.
And we're in the station. I'm sorry. We are.
You could edit that one.
All I was going to say was, when I approached, I expected to be a junior minister.